Guys, it's Treasure and welcome back to my chest. So please ignore the cap and hair. I'm having a little hair crisis today and we're gonna deal with it later. I wanted to hop on here and film the video for today because I waited a little bit last minute, but I went through a lesson today, so I really wanted to kind of talk about that. And I've never felt as proud of myself or good about losing someone or going through a lesson, because I have just really realized how much growth I've gone through and how much further I am in my healing journey than I thought I was. So we're just gonna unpack that and get into it. So if you guys have watched some of my videos, you know how I feel about dating. If you haven't, basically my ex, I had went through a very intense relationship with this man and it really fucked up my perception of dating in general. And then I went through a whole lot of other shit, like having an OnlyFans and shit, and seeing how men, act when you have an OnlyFans. And just in general, I just have a very horrible perception of men, especially when it comes to dating. I got to a point where I'm kind of fucking scared to date again, basically. And I have been for years not really entertaining men at all. I deleted all apps. I don't go out of my way to try to date at all. I really just gave up on that. And the only time that I do speak to men is if they're already my friends or I'm looking for more friends. So basically I like gaming, and recently I've been feeling pretty alone and I don't really have that many people to talk to because I don't have that many friends. And the friends that I do have that game, I feel that they're not all of them want to game with me, because I feel like sometimes when you're gamers and someone's kind of a noob and these are kind of experts, sometimes I just don't have the patience to fucking play with the noob, okay? And I'm a noob for most games. And the only friend that does want to play with me just is not playing the same games as me right now, so it's just not working out. So I've been on the internet looking for friends, and I had initially talked to this guy that I kind of didn't really entertain him, because right before I talked to him I had a horrible situation with another guy that I had gamed with and that I was friends with, and that just ended up ghosting me out of the blue. So I was just kind of discouraged, and I was just like, fuck this guy, I don't know him, and he's probably gonna do the same thing as the other one, so just fuck this shit, you know what I mean? But eventually, a few weeks later, I got lonely again and I didn't find the type of friend that I was looking for. So I sent that guy a message again. I was just like, hey, want to try this out again? Are you still looking to game and everything? And he was. So fast forward, we're actually gaming together, and we both told each other right at the start, we're not trying to date, we're not trying to flirt, we're not trying to do anything relationship wise. And we put that out there because the thing is, the app where I found him, it's basically to find other gamer friends, but a lot of people still act like this is a dating website and they're just being weird. So we just right off the bat, we're we're not trying to date, nothing of that. And everything was clear and everything was good. And we started gaming, and then we got on the call, and we ended up staying on the call for hours, for hours on end. And the last time that this happened, where I clicked with someone this quick and then stayed hours on the phone with someone, was with my ex. So at first I kind of got freaked out, and I was just like, what is going on? And I was trying to be open and everything, and I was like, be open to new connections. And honestly, it went so well with this guy that I was like, you know what? If it does end up happening that we, it gets more than friendship, I would be open to it, because it's going so well, and he seems like he's way more emotionally mature than the other guys that I've talked to. And we I haven't had that in a long time where I fucking clicked with someone this quickly and this well. So I was just like, you know what, we're gonna give it a chance. The reason that I have noticed that I was so scared to dating again is that I didn't know if I was healed enough to see when men are just doing something wrong. I don't know if this makes sense, but basically my ex ended up being a narcissist, and he ended up lying to me a lot, manipulated me a lot, loved bombed me, and all these things that kind of gets you into a relationship without realizing all the red flags, because I was blind to them. That's what I was scared of. I was scared that I was healed enough that I would have someone else act like this towards me and I wouldn't be able to see the signs, or, you know, if they didn't have the same signs of my ex, if they were doing something that was just like kind of icky, that I wouldn't be able to see it and fall into the same trap. That's mostly why I was that scared of dating. But the situation with this new guy just proved to me that I am way more healed than I think, and that I can spot red flags or like wrongs way quicker than I thought I would be able to. Now, again, I'm not saying that like he was a horrible person or that he was a narcissist. That's not it at all. I just think that he went through a lot of things in his past and he is just unhealed. And that's the thing, like, you know, people go on their healing journey, but not everyone is at the same spot on it. Clearly, after a few discussions with him and a few things that he said, even he was self-aware, and he told me in a conversation, hey, you are way more healed than I am. And like, I could clock it, because there's just things that he said about himself that were just so negative, and I was just like, why are you talking like this, like, to yourself like that? And like, just like a few little things that I was just like, yeah, you gotta stop, you know, talking like that or doing these things. But at the end of the day, you can help someone like help themselves and give them tips and everything, but if they don't actually apply it or don't actually show that they want to grow, you can't do anything about it at the end of the day. And that's kind of what happened with him. He just kept like saying things or doing things that I was just like, and it's like, I was kind of wondering, do I keep giving my energy to this person, hoping that they're like gonna work more on themselves and like I'm gonna be able to help them, or do I take myself out of the situation because I do not have time to be dealing with this energy? And that basically kind of what happened. And honestly, I'm a bit disappointed, because I thought that despite this person not being as healed as they said, like, I don't know if, am I saying this right? Despite the fact that he's like, you know, unhealed but working on himself, I thought that he was more emotionally mature than he made it seem. Like, he talked a lot about how he was big on boundaries and everything, and I have a hard time working on telling my boundaries and telling people, hey, that's not okay. I have a hard time working on that. So I kind of saw him as an opportunity for me to work on that, because like, if he's big on boundaries and I have a hard time saying my boundaries, it will be easier for me to tell him, because I'm like, oh, he's big on that, so he's going to respect them. And obviously there's a few things that I should have told him from the beginning, but I kind of waited, because again, I'm not good at just asserting my boundaries. Like, I have to kind of think about it and everything. And there's like something that went down today where I was like, okay, fuck it, I just have to be honest. And I told him very like calmly and professionally, I guess, that like, hey, like, we really get along and everything, but this and this and that you're doing is very unhealed behavior, and like, you're gonna have to work on that, otherwise I'm gonna have to, you know, kind of step back. And unfortunately, I didn't get the response that I thought I would. I thought that he would just be like, oh my god, I'm sorry, like, what can I do, like, for us to work on that shit and everything. I really thought that if I asserted my boundaries with him, since he said he was big on boundaries, that, you know, we would work through it and then everything would be fine, because I'm just like, you know, that's what he wants. But no, he just gave up right off the bat. He just sent me like a paragraph of his goodbyes saying, oh, you're a great person, but I don't want to affect you with my unhealed energy and blah 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 blah. And honestly, it was a bit disappointing, again, because I expected more from him, especially since he's just giving up. But this type of response just tells me everything I need to know, that clearly, yeah, you're working on yourself, but you're not working on yourself enough to be acting like this, you know, when I'm just giving my boundaries. I wasn't even saying like, oh, you're a fucking weirdo, get out of my face. I was saying like, yo, I appreciate you, but this was just not okay, and like, let's work on this, because it's not giving. And he just did it. And obviously I'm kind of a little bit sad, but I have gotten to this point in my healing journey that I don't like cry or get super upset when like either people take themselves out or I take them out, because I'm just like, you will not bring anything to my life. You know, I'm working on myself right now. I'm working on my career. I'm working on my dreams and aspirations. And if you are not someone that is going to come into my life and that is going to either inspire me, help me, or like be there for me, or just be this bonus in my life that just makes my life better, I don't need you. I really don't. I'm secure with myself. And again, I told you guys, I don't need to date. I don't want to date. It just went so well with this person right off the bat that I was just like, shit. Okay, despite me being scared and whatnot, I'm still open for this connection to go further if it goes further. But I saw the red flags and I had to cut it there, and then he did. So it was very short-lived, but it made me realize that I am way more advanced on my healing journey than I thought. And it also made me realize that, hey, you're able to see the red flags in a guy. You're able to see the little things that you don't want to deal with, let's say. Because that's the thing. I also settle a lot when it comes to men. Like, if I meet someone that is not my type, but we get along really well, I'm going to be like, it doesn't matter that he's not my type because he's an amazing human being. But like, I'm also realizing is like, if there's a bunch of little red flags or like things that are wrong, why would you settle for someone that is not your type? It just also made me realize that I think that like my expectations, if I do start to date or I do start to like give man a chance, the bar is gonna be high. It's gonna be high. You're gonna need to have like all the things that I want in a man, and you're gonna need to be emotionally mature or like somewhat healed. And that's the thing. I don't mind having people around that are not as healed as me, because just the fact that you're trying to work on yourself is enough for me. But if I'm here and you're here, we're gonna have an issue, because I'm not spending my energy trying to bring you back up, because you would say things that is just like, okay, I have to reassure him constantly, and it's like, I don't have energy for that. I barely have energy for myself sometimes. I don't know. Get the fuck out of my face. Sorry, I don't want to become aggressive, but it's just like, you know, if you're on your healing journey and I can tell that you have some work to do, but you're a little bit closer than me, then maybe I can bring you on the ride. But if you're over here, honey, I'm sorry, but like, I have to keep people around me that are going to make me get a better person. And if I have people like that around me, it's just going to bring me down. And unfortunately, I'm really at a point in my life where I can't take any chances. I really cannot take any chances. It's either you're in or you're out. And I'd rather not have that many friends than have friends around me that are just, you know, not gonna make me feel my best. So yeah, that's a bit what I wanted to talk about today. This man is still subscribed to my channel. I hope he won't take it like wrong. I'm not like that, like talking shit about him. I'm just like talking about my lesson today and realizing how proud I am of myself that I'm like able to just be like, you know what, that's not for me, and stay kind of civil about it. Because I do know that like the old version about oh my god, I can't talk. The old version of me would have taken it a little bit more personal, or would have maybe like lashed out a little bit, or would have been like cried and been like super upset, or maybe wouldn't have been like, I would have pushed the red flags to the side. Basically, I would have just dealt with, been like, ah, I can't see anything, I want this man, you know what I mean? But now it's just, I'm a grown woman and I'd rather be alone than have some dumbass around me. Okay, sorry, I'm not calling him a dumbass, but you know what I mean. Okay, thanks for watching the video. I'll see you guys next time.